Hello YouTube, this is Dave the Mechanic back again with another video for you. Today I'm working on a 2004 Chevy Impala. Today we'll be changing front brake pads, and this is what the front brake pads for this 04 Impala looks like. Another step you're going to want to take is to remove the cap from the brake reservoir. The reason you remove the cap is simple, is because when you push the pistons back into the caliper, the pressure from the brake fluid is going to travel backwards back into the cylinder, and the brake fluid is going to rise. And if you have this on while the brake fluid is rising, it can even either pop the cap off by itself, or you can damage this little gasket here by forcing the fluid through it. So you want to take this cap off before you start to compress your pistons back into your calipers. All right, in order to get this done, you're gonna have to get the car off the ground, or at least the driver's side wheel. I have a jack stand already placed, and I'm using the center beam, the two beams that run from front to back. I'm using the one on the driver's side. You can also use this part here, but you can take a look and see. That's why I don't like using those. And I also have my jack stand ready just in case, for safety. Now with this being a front wheel drive, you can get the lug nuts off, because it won't spin in the air. But you will be putting pressure on the transmission on that parking pawl. What I normally do is I'll break these lug nuts loose while it's still on the ground, but leave them on, and then raise it up and get them off later. But since I'll be using the impact, I don't have to worry about that. So I have them in the air now, so I'm going to use the impact and get my wheels off. But if you're using a breaker bar or four-way, yeah, I recommend getting them loose while it's on the ground. We can go ahead and remove this caliper by removing this. A 15mm bolt here and a 15mm bolt here. I have a 15mm matchet. I'm going to go ahead and attack those now. All right, now I have the bolts removed. This would be a good time to go ahead and clean them up and use a wire brush and get those threads all cleaned up. And we can go ahead and remove the caliper. You may need a pry bar. All right, should be able to just set it up here. If you don't feel comfortable setting it up here, you can always use a wire or a zip tie and hang it. And now I can take the old pads off. And I can install the new pads. I'm going to set the one with the wear sensor inboard. Set the one without the wear sensor on the outside. And now the brake pads are set. All right, before we get the caliper put back in, we have to push the piston back in. So I'm using an old brake pad and a C-clamp, and I'm going to start getting that piston turned back in. Once it's turned all the way in, should be able to slide it right on there. You want to get these rubber grommets right underneath and in the groove. And now we can start going back with our bolts once they're clean. Now that we have our two 15mm bolts back in and tight, holding in our caliper, our brake pads are installed. All we have to do now is put the tire back on. Now that we have our tire back on, we can go ahead and put our top back on our brake reservoir. And that is it, folks. Just that easy. That is how you change your front brake pads on a 2004 Chevy Impala. If you liked the video, you thought it was helpful, be sure to hit the like, subscribe button. Also, if you feel this video saved you some money, don't be afraid to leave a little tip in the Cash App. The more reactions and support that I receive is the more content that I'll make.